Hello, I'm Mario Tonaguzzi, and this is Calgary's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Joining me today is Duane Hertzer, who is president of Optima Manufacturing in Calgary. Thanks, Duane, for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me on today, Mario.
Well, let's just start with an explanation of what Optima is and what do you guys do?
Okay, Optima Manufacturing was founded in November 1990. Basically, what we do is we provide precision machine components, assemblies, and kits for a globally diverse set of customers, particularly in the OEM field, which stands for Original Equipment Manufacturers. Industries that we touch on, aerospace, being in Alberta, energy, of course, and transportation, and process control, telecommunications. So a number of diverse industries.
Tell me how it started. How did the genesis and roots of the company come to be?
Yeah, so Optima Manufacturing, there's a group of us, four of us as shareholders, the family being the main one. My father's actually, by training from Germany, a machinist. And they started a company in Calgary in the late 60s called Century Machine. And that evolved into providing just machining services, and then evolved into an instrumentation valve line, which still exists today and is part of Emerson group of companies. And so sold that in the late 80s and started Optima Manufacturing with two of the key associates from our previous company, Century Machine, and opened our doors, like I said, in November 1990, and about 3,600 square feet, and we've gone to over 50,000 square feet now. Currently about 55 associates. So we've gone through cycles. We're a lot more people, and going up and down along with the economy. We're a service-based company, so we have no product line of our own. So we're at the whims of the marketplace.
Tell me a little bit about who your clients are and where are they, like kind of geographically?
Geographically, actually, we have being a Canadian-based company, we do probably 97% is export out of the country, and that's divided between Europe, US, South America, Asia, and Middle East to some degree as well too. So
okay,
the customer base, as I mentioned, a fair bit in the energy sector, transportation, railway in the US, process control throughout North America.
Mm-hmm. So recently, I know that you announced some news partnership with a Japanese firm. Can you talk a little bit about that? Explain what that partnership's about and the significance of it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So this came about through a contact that I had met about 5 or 6 years ago in Invest, Alberta. At the time, he was based in Alberta, Michael Couch, and we were invited to attend a aerospace show in Santiago, Chile, called FIDE. It's one of the world's largest military aerospace shows globally. And there was a contingent about 6 or 7 companies from Alberta. We had our own booth there. And so that's where I got to know Invest Alberta and Michael. So from there, we've worked on some aerospace items, and it's a very difficult industry to break into. I find it quite political, so it's not like you cater to the energy industry and then switch over and start servicing those customers. So he introduced us to this company, Hibiki Seiki, and they had some different ideas on getting a foothold into the North American market. They currently supply, I believe, in Europe. And in Asia, Middle East, and they have been trying to get into the North American market, and we're having some limited success. So they were looking for a partner that's in the same realm of industry that they do with the machining, precision machining. And Michael Couch from Invest Alberta, who's now based in Tokyo, started discussions between ourselves and another company called JETRO, Japan Export Trade Organization. And these discussions probably started about 6 months ago. And we discussed different ideas and on how this partnership would look like, and came to a memorandum of understanding, which was just signed a few weeks ago, and we did the press release on that. So very early stages in the relationship, but we hope to be mutual benefits for both companies as far as opening up some opportunities for us within the Japanese market. We have a small foothold there right now, but and the other thing, it'll leverage their name and whatnot into the North American aerospace semiconductor industry.
All right, super. So Duane, tell me a little bit about being an entrepreneur, and what kind of things do you enjoy about entrepreneurship?
Oh, for myself, I love the from the machining end and the kitting, the process. I love the processes, and we're always under constant pressure by our customers on reducing lead times and getting costs down. So that always comes with improving how you make things and the way you go about machining parts. Of course, the people aspect is the key thing in our industry. A lot of times people say, see the equipment and they come in and tour the facility and they say, wow, this is so automated. And, anybody can really go out with capital behind them and procure the equipment. It's how you utilize it. And that's where our people come in. So, overused term, but people are our best resource.
What has been the biggest challenge you faced in, I guess, in the last few years, or even just since becoming an entrepreneur?
Probably the biggest thing, just the cycles of the markets. We try to get into different industries, so you hope that one industry is up and the other one's down, and it would offset one another. But with the global economic cycles, you go back to the financial crisis of 2008, it seems to have affected all industries on those areas. And so it's always a challenge with staffing, and we don't like to reduce headcount at all. It's not our style, but sometimes we've had to make difficult decisions. Past few years, we've stayed quite steady with our crew and did a lot of cross training. So that's how we've adapted to some of those challenges. And then right now we're on a bit of a upturn and exploring new markets with the Hibiki Seiki deal.
Mm-hmm. Being an Alberta-based company, specifically Calgary, what do you think some of the advantages are of being based here for any business?
I think definitely the lower cost of business with taxes, land, etc. I believe that we have a good talent pool of people. We do a lot of in-house training as well too, but there's always a very good pool of people, and we do a lot of just through referral through our existing associate base that we're able to bring in people. Logistically, it's well suited globally. I know a lot of times Canada is not on the embargo countries, so we're able to sell that way, and so it's quite happy to be here.
What about the flip side of that? What are some of the challenges or tough things about being a business based in Calgary, based in Alberta?
Yeah, so over the past couple of years, one of the things that we've seen is a lot of consolidation on, let's say, on our raw material and the suppliers, and actually closing up facilities and distribution centers and Edmonton, Nisku, and what, and consolidating in the U.S. in the Houston area, Oklahoma. And what that effectively does to us, it adds on 1 to 2 weeks on our lead time on our products, and that's one of the competitive advantages that we would typically have. A lot of times in our town hall meetings internally here, I'll tell the associates that our competitor is not really necessarily the person down in the foothills in Calgary or next door to us. It's Pune or Shanghai, and that's our competitor base right now. And so we've got to be lean and mean against those kind of countries that we're competing against.
Mm-hmm. When you look at entrepreneurship and through your experience in it, What advice would you give people if say you had a kid who who said, "Hey, pops, I want to be an entrepreneur." Like, what would you tell them? Like, what is your best advice for them?
I think you have to have a passion for the industry that you're dealing in. You have to like people. You have to be able to converse with people and challenge them and respect them and help them to grow in your workplace. That's probably one of the key things. Another one is an environment for ourselves. I place a lot of value on the environment. And when I speak of that, the environment of the workplace and the culture, and as you can see, the building behind us. That I always say that for better or worse, you spend more of your waking day at your workplace. So why not make it as enjoyable of an experience that you can?
That's so true, which leads me into another topic area, this work-life balance. It's kind of a buzz phrase over the last few years. More and more people talking about it. How would you describe what your work-life balance is?
For Optima here, of course, our work from home was pretty much non-existent, except for some staff, just due to the nature of our industry. And I was proud to say that we had no major incidents over the past few years with any COVID outbreaks, and we didn't really miss a day of work as far as the operations go. For personally myself. We have a very strong team of people here that really provide a lot of support for the operations, and then so not myself always getting involved in every aspect of it, focusing more on probably business development and relationships. So that's a key thing that allows me to do other things. I sit on the board of the Grand Theatre in Calgary.
Oh.
And then enjoy outdoor skiing a lot and things like that.
What's your connection to the theater?
I had been board chair previously, and for about 10 years, and originally got involved quite a few years ago through an invitation of the local architect, Jeremy Sturgis.
Yep.
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, why don't you see if you enjoy sitting on this board?" And it was out here in the Northeast under my manufacturing plants. So came downtown and explored the theater world, and it's very rewarding.
Now, jog my memory. I'm trying to remember, but that's the theater that's across the street from what used to be the Calgary Herald building, but is Brookfield.
Brookfield Place. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been in there, and actually knew your CEO. I think former CEO Tony McGrath. Yeah, gave me pardon the pun, gave me a grand tour one day there, and it's such a beautiful site there. It's quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of history behind that as far as Calgary goes.
Yeah, you bet. Is it tough for being the head of a company to find the time to do other things that's beyond the workplace?
No, not really. Go back to the aspect about building a good team of people and having the operations go as smooth as possibly can. Because as we explore different opportunities like this Hibiki Seiki, and it involves travel and time away from the workplace to develop and nurture those relationships. So that would probably be a key point on that area.
Yeah, and as a manager, how important is it to kind of step back and let people do the work that they're hired to do, right? And I've worked in workplaces where the boss is like right there, right? And what's your philosophy on that?
Oh, I'd say it's evolved through doing coaching and talking to people and whatnot. I go through we ran the whole executive team a number of years ago through a number of executive coaching tests and whatnot, and then I think my results were that too detail oriented and things like that. So I used to have my hands in every little thing, walking around, why is this, why is that, and So it's, I guess, a slow learning process, and you just learn eventually. It's difficult to back off because I have a strong passion for the operations, the aesthetics, and from my father's teachings about the housekeeping, that when you see things that are not in place, it's difficult to step back and not say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. That's so true. Last question I had for you as you look forward, in terms of the vision for the company. Where do you see the company going in the next few years?
Yeah, so I hope this relationship with Hibiki Seiki is going to open us up into different markets that we're currently not as strong in, and I see some continued growth in those. Perhaps strategizing, looking ahead, going into dividing the operations into different divisions in order to satisfy the different markets, and that's probably the best way to move into these different areas, because the different markets do have different set of specifications and protocols that we have to adhere to.
Okay, super. Well, thanks a lot, Duane, for joining us today.
Well, thank you again for having me, and it was very nice meeting you.
All right, that was Duane Hertzer, who is president of Optima Manufacturing based in Calgary. I'm Mario Tonaguzzi. This has been Calgary's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us today.